Hi, David.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
About to get in an Uber here in Philadelphia to head to the airport, so hopefully the driver doesn't care that we're talking too much 49ers. It's going to be good. It's a tight schedule today, so leaving town had a cheesesteak breakfast sandwich.
Ooh.
It had an egg on it. It was really good. For the 49ers, the game wasn't really good. I think for football fans, that was just a bummer. I mean, we were supposed to have a titanic matchup between the two best teams, and we ended up watching the team play without a quarterback. And, the NFL changed the roster rules a little while back. The emergency third quarterback roster exception is no longer there, and that's got to come back. I'm sorry. That was unwatchable in the second half, and we didn't get an answer to a lot of our questions. Who's better, 49ers or the Eagles? Well, the Eagles are better than a 49ers team without a quarterback. And I would really like to see these two teams play at full strength. We didn't get that yesterday.
Yeah, the NFL from 1999 to 2010 had a QB3, and the way it would work, and I didn't even like the way they used that rule. If you brought the third quarterback in before the fourth quarter, either one of the first two could not return. So it was basically a third guy for just merely injury, which would have been the case yesterday because Brock goes down and then Josh Johnson wound up getting hurt. But I want to start our discussion with Jimmy Garoppolo. And December the 4th, he had the broken foot against Miami. And, you were working on this for a long, long time. What was the actual timeline for him to be able to come back? Would it be wild card weekend, divisional playoff weekend, or championship weekend? And I think you thought maybe divisional or wild card. And ultimately, and I know Jimmy used all the bone healers for Teo and everything, trying to expedite the healing of the broken foot. Ultimately, David, did you get a real clarification on why Jimmy just did not heal in time to make himself available?
Yeah, I still don't have full clarification on that. Based on what I've understood is, as that progress went along, the Super Bowl started to be more and more of the realistic option. But remember, it was initially reported, I think it was Adam Schefter, when the big reversal from the Lisfranc injury came in, it was initially reported that he might be ready around that divisional, in that 6 to 8 week window. And this NFC title game was 8 weeks, and obviously it didn't work within that window. Now, yesterday it was we saw Trey Lance out there with the 49ers. He was still in a boot coming off the second surgery, but Garoppolo was not in the boot anymore. I think that goes far to indicate that, and he's been throwing already for a couple of weeks, so I think that goes far to indicate that a return to the practice field was probably close, but just didn't happen in enough time. And the fracture, I think, occurred near the strength joint, which might have complicated and this is just me speculating based on all the information that I got just talking to orthopedists and trying to figure out what happened. But I think that the fracture might have happened in a complicated spot, slowing down the rehab a little bit. And obviously everything timeline-wise ended up, really working out toward the latter end of the prognosis, right? The latter end of that 6 to 8 week prognosis instead of the earlier end. And the 49ers really could have used the earlier end of it, but they obviously didn't get that.
David Lombardi is joining us. He's in a taxi in Philly as he's leaving Philadelphia today. We're talking about the Niners' NFC loss to the 49ers. I feel the same way you do. It's just we just don't know. Philly could have won, but we really don't know. But let's go through it. And we were just talking about the fourth down call. Kyle Shanahan decides to let it go. Looks like Devontae Smith dropped the ball. He didn't have the proper angle. Look, Kyle's a great coach, but I think in that situation you at least have to call a timeout. What was your thought on that critical play early?
On the
Devontae Smith on the Devontae
Smith
non-catch.
I thought that he should have thrown a what the heck challenge flag because I thought it was a high leverage spot. And Kyle actually said that after that he was really close to throwing a what the heck challenge flag, and that he watched on the big screen in Philadelphia. He saw a replay that you couldn't see that it was incomplete on that replay, and that dissuaded him from throwing the challenge flag. So, it's almost like Kyle Shanahan got suckered by the hometown video board operator into not throwing the challenge flag because they're obviously not going to put up a replay in Philadelphia of that play looking like a drop. They saw a replay where it looked like a catch and everybody got fired up, and it discouraged the 49ers from challenging the play. Then we saw more replays, and it was clearly a drop. But, I think that the biggest tell, and the 49ers ignored this tell, was that Devontae Smith got up and looked guilty. He looked guilty of a drop. Devontae Smith got up and started sprinting toward the new line of scrimmage and telling the Eagles to hurry up. If the receiver himself is telling people to hurry up, he probably dropped the football. He probably didn't catch the football. So instead of relying on the video board, I think Kyle Shanahan should have relied on Devontae Smith's reaction. He should have gone with his initial gut feeling there, and he should have thrown the what the heck challenge flag, because think of the leverage of that play. 49ers would have gotten the football back because it was fourth down. You erase a touchdown opportunity, which Philadelphia capitalized on, so you take away 7 points, and the 49ers would have had a chance to grab an early lead, which could have changed the entire complexion of this game. So regardless of what the initial look on the scoreboard looked like, I think it was worth it there for Kyle Shanahan to throw that challenge flag, because you were looking at Philadelphia going up early in this game if that catch stood, which it did, and that ended up spelling doom for the 49ers.
Well, Devontae Smith jumped up and put his two knuckles together, meaning get lined up right away and snap it. I don't think the Philadelphia game ops people did it, maybe, but Fox never had a replay, David. I don't know if you watched the TV copy back yet. They didn't have one until coming back from break. Several minutes later did they show it. They never mentioned that it wasn't a catch until way later. So I think the timing of it and just Fox's number one crew unable to get that replay in time. And what I think from a coaching point is don't throw one of those precious challenge flags. Just call a timeout. Try to accrue more information and then determine what you do, because you get 3 timeouts a half. But in any event.
You're right. That's a great point.
All right. As far as Brock Purdy, and I think the 49ers are going to get the MRI. I was told 10:30, so 10 minutes ago. They're not going to probably release it unless you inquire, and you're pretty good that way. But just the vibe that I got in flying home with the team, I don't think he's going to need Tommy John surgery on the UCL. He's not a baseball pitcher like his father. He's a football quarterback. So we're looking at maybe 6 to 8 weeks recovery time, no surgery, 2 months versus 6 months if he has the surgery. What vibe did you get leaving the link last night, David?
Same vibe. They're hoping it's not ruptured. You'd only need Tommy John surgery if that UCL is ruptured. So there is, I think, hope, confidence, something in between that this is a shorter-term injury, but they obviously need to do that MRI to confirm that. And boy, does this have potentially big ramifications on what already was going to be an interesting 49ers offseason. Well, now we're entering this offseason, through kind of a fog of war, because all 4 49ers quarterbacks who are currently on the roster are technically hurt, right? Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't yet healthy enough to suit up for the game yesterday, and now you're looking at the Brock Purdy situation, which is going to have potentially big effects on what the 49ers do moving forward. So we'll see. That's going to be the first piece of news, and what I think is going to be a really, really packed offseason as far as news goes for the 49ers.
David Lombardi is joining us as he is on his way to the airport in Philly. The 49ers, as you well know, lost the NFC Championship game in strange fashion to the Eagles yesterday at Lincoln Financial Field. On the play that Brock Purdy got hurt, obviously Kyle's going to be criticized for the design of the play. I'm not putting it on Kroft. He's not going to block Hassan Reddick ever. So what did you think of the play? And I did hear Kyle's explanation. What did you think of the explanation after the game?
Well, the 49ers have tight ends blocking edge rushers. It's not infrequent. That's part of the play action concept. So it's a huge disadvantage for Tyler Kroft, yes. But you are counting on him to at least slightly divert Hassan Reddick, and then you're counting on the quarterback to step up in the pocket, and you're also counting on your other offensive linemen to execute their jobs. On that play, Javon Hargrave beat Aaron Banks. So it made the job of Brock Purdy stepping up in the pocket a little bit harder, because he could step up to his left. He would have had to step up to the right. But that's something the 49ers have been working on with Brock Purdy. I would even go as far to say that's the next step in Brock Purdy's development, is just instinctually he needs to to step up in the pocket more often instead of rolling away from pressure, or in this case, he didn't roll away from it. He just took the hit because he didn't see Hassan Reddick coming. So, mitigating pressure, dealing with all those things is it's a team thing because it's a team sport. So obviously you want the right play call at the right time, and you have to dial up, if you're Kyle Shanahan, the correct risk-reward time to have Tyler Kroft blocking Hassan Reddick. But you also have to have good execution from Tyler Kroft. You also have to have good execution from the rest of the offensive linemen so that Brock Purdy's options aren't limited in a situation where Tyler Kroft gets beaten. And you also need Brock Purdy to develop better pocket awareness. So I think it was a failure on multiple fronts from the 49ers on that play. And, you have to credit Philadelphia, too, for having a monster like Hassan Reddick, a speed rusher, an edge rusher coming around that tight end position and capitalizing on the fact that there was an opportunity there. And perhaps that's, an illustration of what the 49ers need to add this offseason, because the pass rush wasn't nearly as good for the 49ers as it was back in 2019 when they had Dee Ford roaring around the edge to complement Nick Bosa. And I think that as the 49ers look forward to this offseason, that's going to be another big point of discussion. They're going to want to try to replicate what Philadelphia was able to bring this year, and that is a pass rush that is roaring off both edges.
Which leads to the NFL Network insiders just reported the 2023 salary cap is going to go up to $224.8 million, David, and you're on top of this as well as anybody, up from $208.2 this year. So it's a $16.6 million leap. And as you reported today in The Athletic, the 49ers have $217 million of 2023 liabilities on the book. So, we're talking about a $7.8 million under with that. A lot of players are free agent. You mentioned, complimentary rushers to Bosa. Not many guys on the D-line outside of Armstead and Kinlaw. Even have contracts beyond this year on the D-line. Mike Sando is going to join us coming up. You know him well, and he's already talking about Tom Brady and the 49ers. And assuming Brock, has a normal offseason, and even if he doesn't, he and Trey, I think, are coming back, and they're so inexpensive for a quarterback room. So just give me your thoughts on the 49er cap situation, and specifically, do you think there's any way in hell they will be in play for either Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers this offseason?
Well, if you look at the 49ers cap situation right now, they're $7 million under that cap that was reported, but they only have 35 players on a contract so far next year. So they're going to have to make a lot of maneuvers with limited money. So there's going to be financial Tetris that is going to be played for the 49ers this offseason. That's for sure. They have to pay Nick Bosa. They'll probably have to pay Brandon Ayuk as well. So you look at both of those things and you say, can they somehow manage those contract extensions while lowering the cap hit for 2023? And I think they will be able to do that. Parag Marante's been good with that kind of financial reworking. You also look at the fact that the 49ers draft class is not going to cost as much this year because their first pick isn't until the compensatory section of the third round. So according to the rookie wage scale, that's going to be a lot cheaper to work with. And they probably will be restructures elsewhere around the roster. Now, when you start talking about a veteran quarterback, especially somebody of Tom Brady's stature, even if he takes a discount, you're not going to sign him to a long-term deal because he's going to be 46 years old. So you're not going to be able to spread that money out too far into the future. So even at a discount, that's going to be, more than $20 million? It's just hard to see that fitting. I think one of the reasons the 49ers thought that, see themselves as being in sustainable financial position is because they have two quarterbacks in Brock Purdy and Trey Lance under rookie contracts that are relatively inexpensive, and that allows you to fortify the rest of the roster, as it obviously is going to need some fortifying. We just talked about that edge rusher position that the 49ers want to solidify opposite Nick Bosa. So that's why I see a high-priced veteran quarterback not being, something that the 49ers would be able to capable of adding at this point, just because that kind of flies in the face of their entire roster building strategy, and that dates back to the trade up for Trey Lance.
Great stuff, David. Thank you so much. All season long, you've been great to us, and your writing is amazing, and I think you might even be better in the offseason because you do such a great job, as Pop said, with the numbers and the cap and all those kind of things. So you're a must-follow. And I would imagine that you and Barros are going to do that what is that, the chart you do where you can fill out.
Roster builder.
Yeah, I love the roster builder. We got to do the roster builder again. So just thank you so much for everything. You and all the guys over at The Athletic, all the people over at The Athletic do a great job, and we always appreciate it.
Well, you guys do a great job, too. I have a lot of fun up and on the show, and I hope that we keep on talking here throughout the offseason. It's been a lot of fun. I mean, it was 20 games. These are marathons now that take up like half of the year, right? So it's, throughout all the ups and downs of the season, it's been fun to check in with you, and I really appreciate it.
So I had two cheesesteaks over the weekend, Saturday after the walkthrough and then on the bus yesterday. You had a cheesesteak with egg. How was that?
Yeah, it's up on my Twitter. I don't know if you guys have a screen,
right here,
computer or phone. I put a picture up about an hour ago, probably, because I couldn't get up for an hour after eating.
I see it. It looks yummy. A morning cheesesteak? Wow.
It was really good, and it wasn't that heavy. I'm just joking. It was really good. It was a lot better than what I had last night, because last night I had to go to one. I think it was Pat's. There's Pat's and there's Geno's, and it was like 2 a.m. or whatever time it was. I always leave the stadium and nobody else is there, and everything is closed except for the 24-hour places. And everybody here was like, yeah, those places aren't very good compared to what you can get a little bit earlier in the day. So anyway, I had the cheesesteak there. It did the job late at night, but this one did the job much better in the morning. This was gourmet.
What kind of bun is that? That looks unbelievable. I need that.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's good.
I'm not a bread expert.
Oh, okay, that looks good. Yeah. And I got to tell you, if the football thing doesn't work out, food photography might be in your future. I mean, that's all shiny. Whatever you did there, that's phenomenally well done. Looks very good.
Well, the food and the football go together because in the NFL you get to travel to these cities. Football fans like the food, so I put some of this stuff up on the Twitter, and seems that there's a good cross kind of. There's a good football fans enjoy football, and they also enjoy pictures of cheesesteaks with eggs on them. There's a good kind of mix there.
Very much. You going to the Super Bowl? We're going to see you in Arizona, David?
No, you won't see me in Arizona. I was going to go if the 49ers went, but no. I'm sure you'll be up on Radio Row, right?
We'll be there.
We'll
be there next week, right, Chad? We're leaving next Monday night. We'll be there starting Tuesday?
Yeah, we're going to do Tuesday through Friday next week. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, all
right, man.
Enjoy it.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Safe flight.
All right. Thanks. Have a good one.
There you go.